Hello, everybody. This is your host, Mia. Thank you for tuning in and listening to another episode of the one and only Soul Wave Podcast. Enjoy. Yo, can we talk about how I'm literally doing nothing all fucking day? I could be laying down, doom scrolling, or just staring at the fucking ceiling, bored out of my mind, group chat silent. And then when I come on to fucking record a podcast or I have a business phone call or some bullshit, everyone decides to fucking speak their minds like if they haven't talked to someone in 5 fucking days. Are you kidding me, bro? Yo, homies, if you're listening to this, you all got me tight. It's funny as hell though, the group chat crazy right now. My goodness. Anyway, oh my god, I almost dropped my phone. Oh! And I don't have the case on. Alright, we're gonna put it down. I'm gonna sip. I got a glass of Prosecco with me. It's 87 degrees on a Thursday afternoon. You know damn well I'm outside day drinking. Come on now, guys. We're living life on easy mode. You'll probably hear a bunch of background noise. Birds chirping. Motherfuckers mowing their lawn. I lied, actually. They be doing that shit at 7:30. Like, my dude. I'm trying to sleep here, and all you just hear is that goddamn lawn lower. Lawn lower? What am I saying? So you know the Prosecco got to me already. We're gonna have a good podcast. Fuck it. We ball. That's it. I just got off the phone with my therapist, and she's not really a therapist. I mean, she has her degrees in something. I don't really know what. I'm a terrible person. I don't know that. But she's wonderful. She is like my spiritual shrink / mentor. I look up to her immensely. She has these things called spiritual companion sessions. I'll link her information below if you guys are interested. But I've been seeing her for like the last 3 years. Met her through my mom. My mom's been friends with her for a long time, and I consider her a friend too. She is just an incredible soul, honest to God. I have no words to describe the heart of gold and the way her soul shimmers through her body and her being, and how many people she's helped, how she's helped me. Whoa. Sorry, how she's helped me. But, I've been trying to keep in mind before, like, shit hits the fan or before I stress myself out or give myself anxiety, I start to try and ask for help way before I think I need it. Because I tend to not to. I talk about this quite often. Listen to the Help Remix podcast episode. I go all into, like, my issues about why it's hard for me to ask for help. So I just got off the phone with her. Great session. I'm not gonna lie, I'm exhausted from it though. We did a lot of work. Did not expect it to go in the way it did, which is honestly expected though. Does that make sense? Like, every time I talk to her, we start off with one thing and then we end on a whole different fucking page. Like, scratch that, like a whole fucking different book. But that's how it always is, and everything always connects. I wanted to talk to her about, like, my issues with manifesting money. Abraham Hicks, if you don't know her, look her up. She's incredible. She's a channeler, and like a mentor for people on how to manifest things. And a lot of people go to her asking about how to manifest money. And I've been listening to her for like 4 years now. Me and my mom went to another state, not too far, probably like a 2-hour drive, to go see one of her workshops, and it was a great experience, but it's something I still struggle with. If I'm being honest, I think I'm just like a shitty manifester. I think I'm too in my masculine. And that is why I don't like attract anything, because they say for the feminine, stay with me now, we're gonna go like 15 different places with this podcast episode because I'm drinking, but I'm enjoying myself. This is gonna be fun. For the feminine, it's all about not chasing, it's attracting. We are the creator of life. We literally have a portal between our legs. We're all about the creation of energy. We don't have to take action to get the things we want. It just comes naturally because we are the love, and it just vibes at that same level. And for the masculine energy, their energy is all about taking action. It is the doer. It is the light. Honestly, I think I probably could have got those two confused. A large gust of wind coming in. I'm out on the deck right now. I'm not in my usual studio, which is why you're gonna hear like birds and lawnmowers and stuff, but it's cool. We're going with it. But the men could be the love, the women could be the light. I don't really remember off the top of my head, but one is one and one is the other. They don't exist without each other. That's why we need the divine masculine and divine feminine. We all harness both energies. And that's why I believe don't manifest shit because I'm too in my masculine. This is all because of like childhood traumas, the way I grew up, and also like what I'm doing with my life. I have to take action. You want shit done? You got to do it yourself. Am I right? I don't believe that's always true. I always try to share a glimmer of hope. I think you can depend on people. No, I know you can depend on people. You just have to be discerning of who you choose to depend on. But when it comes to building a life, we can use myself for an example, right? This is the podcast about me. Let's say you're starting a podcast, you're starting to build a brand, you're starting to build a business. Or even, what's great? A fitness journey. Everyone's on the fitness wave now. You have to take action. You can't just wake up one day and manifest 20 inches off your waist. Or 20 pounds. That's a little more realistic, sorry. I told you this would be an interesting podcast. I should do this more often. I'm having a time. Ooh, I'm having a time. Let me tell you. Fucking stupid. I mean, I don't want to shit on anyone's dream. I'm the believer of the impossible. So maybe you could wake up one day and lose 20 pounds. Who fucking knows? But you have to take action for those things. And that's why we have both feminine and masculine energies, regardless of the gender or who you identify as. We have to have a balance. I just read this post. Who shared it? Let me go look. It might have been Jake Woodard. I'm probably saying his last name wrong. Please hold. Yeah, okay, it was Jake Woodard. Men, what is a masculine trait in women that turns you off? And all the comments were women, which is funny as hell. Because, like, damn, bro, like, we really can't just, like, let shit be. I feel like we're in an age right now where women are so wounded. I mean, we're all wounded, granted. But wounded specifically by the masculine. Because we grow up with fathers that don't know how to love us or don't know how to communicate with us. Don't know how to make us feel safe or heard or seen. We attract that men when we're older to pursue a romantic love interest, and we just wind up getting burned because it's really not healthy. It's something we may know, and it's comfortable. And it's familiar. That's why we attract it. That's what the vibration we are giving off. So we attract that vibration, but it's not healthy. It's not good love. I could write a fucking book on that one. And once, now this applies to literally everybody, not just women, but at a certain point in your life when so many people have let you down, you start to lose trust. And you come into this jaded mindset where I'm literally like, cue up Drake, Jaded. And every single song by Drake that he ever made about a girl being independent, because it's facts. we come into this hyper independence. And going back to that Instagram post that Jake Woodard shared, the men that did comment, about 9 times out of 10, were the hyper independence. That shit turns me off. And I'm like, wow, well, full circle moment. Because now we're slowly, very, very slowly, we're starting to come into a better understanding. I feel like men are starting to wade in and out of the waters of what it means to be a divine masculine and what it means to hold that space for your feminine energy in your life, to show up but not be overbearing, to listen and not mansplain, to allow us to be soft. And for us women, it's like we've never experienced that before, because all the men before us, all the men that we chased, our fathers or uncles or guardians, were in this toxic masculinity energy where when they grew up, and this is nobody's fault, it's just the way the world is turning, unfortunately. I'm sorry, the fucking group chat. Like, are you for real right now? Hold on, I need to send a meme. Okay, I'm back. This is nobody's fault. This is just the way the world is turning and how we were just raised, where, you know, it wasn't okay for men to show emotion. And if they should show emotion, it should be anger to assert their dominance, because God forbid someone looks at you like you're weak. Then you can't survive, right? You can't go to war and you can't protect your country. And I'm not talking about this day and age. Like, let's go back thousands of years ago. Let's go back to the Roman Empire. It's genetic. Men are the hunters. And they go out and protect the tribe from animals and make sure we all survive. And if you showed up and a lion came to threaten your tribe and you cried, they wouldn't deem you as a fit to be the, I don't know, what's the word? I don't want to use king. The leader of the tribe. If you're gonna run away, you're gonna sit there and be like, hey, yo, lion, let's stalk this out. Like, no, it doesn't work. And that's just, it's so crazy to think about. Because I can feel, when I say I tune into the collective energies, if you're not in the spiritual world or you don't understand what that means, I'm going to explain it to you in the terms of, like, I pick up on what other people feel. And because there's literally 8 billion of us now on the planet, probably hit that mark about 4 months ago, which is crazy to think about too. When you tune into the spiritual side of things and you start embarking on this path, and if you're one of the ones that pick up on collective energy, you can not only feel the shame of women and all that emotion that we hold. What the fuck was that? I think the deck is breaking as I'm sitting on it, but fuck it, we ball. You can feel the shame around men and the lack of safety. Wow. That's a powerful thing right there. I don't know. I just felt lack of safety. I don't know what the technical term of it is. Again, I say I'm not by any means a professional. Most of the shit I learn is through YouTube and Google. But, like, this is stuff I'm passionate about. So I just have, like, an innate sense and, like, curiosity of these things. I just go researching it. But if you were to think before all this, before houses with stable structures and nice siding, before fucking lawns, I'm just saying that because this is what I'm observing outside, before Prosecco, oh my god, I can't imagine a time before Prosecco. I love champagne. Pause. I am at my grandfather's house, enjoying the nice weather. And my grandmother is cremated. There's a picture in front of her box where her ashes are, and I was pouring up a glass, and I'm like, you know what? Toast. I poured up a little glass for her too. To you, Grandma, thank you for just watching over me. I would talk to her a lot back in the day. I don't as much anymore, as for my spirit guides have changed. Something also I believe that when you go through different phases of your life, you'll have different spirit guides. You'll have different spirit animals. You can have many. Bro, fuck it. It's your life. You can have the entire fucking animal kingdom as your spirit guide. It literally doesn't matter. But I think certain ones show up at certain phases of your life. And so I don't talk with her often. I pull on another past loved one of mine. But she's always there, and she reassures me that she's always there. So the last weekend, it was Easter. And it was such a wonderful Easter. I haven't felt that much warmth in my heart in a while. Just seeing people that I haven't seen in so long. Like my cousin surprised us, came in last minute from college, and she lives halfway across the country. My great aunt, who's 92 years old, showed up with her son and my second cousin, and family friends, and my uncle and aunt, and my grandfather, and my mom. It was just really nice. But Easter morning, we would celebrate Easter the Lithuanian style. So I'm mainly Italian and Lithuanian. Easter was like her holiday, and she would go above and beyond for her grandkids. She loved them so much. She would hide the eggs. She would do these beautiful Easter baskets with my mom, and we would have all the Lithuanian and Polish breads, the cheese babka. We would do the kibasi and the egg fights. And that morning, for some reason, I can never sleep when I'm down here. I blame the mattresses. I keep telling my mom, like, we need to get new mattresses, but for another time, I guess. So I wake up a lot throughout the night, but I also dream a lot. So I'll dream, and then I'll wake up, and then I'll go back to bed, and I'll dream of something else. And that night I had like 15 different dreams. Like, I swear we were in like 18 different genres of movies that night. Crazy. And the very last dream I remember was I was at Easter breakfast, and I was downstairs from the house I was sleeping in, and my grandmother was there, and she was just doing what she normally does, like take cares of the family. And so she's Lithuanian and my grandfather's Italian, but she kind of grew up as an Italian grandmother to me, because, you know, there's that stereotype of Italian grandmothers. They don't sit down and eat with the rest of the family. They're too busy taking care of everyone else. They're gonna make sure you have food on the plate and refill the serving tray and make sure everyone has a drink and doing the dishes and all that, and then eats after the fact when everyone's up and done, and just putting everyone before herself. And she was doing that in my dream, and it was just like awesome, because something I get reassured a lot, which is so annoying. If I'm being honest, I got a bone to pick with my spirit guides. I don't dream about my past loved ones. I believe I mentioned this once before on the podcast, but if you believe you have mediumship capabilities, which I will go ahead and say I believe we all do, I just think a lot of people are too much in their head about it. You can communicate with people who's passed on, especially your own past loved ones. And because this is the career of mine, and I do like the Reiki energy, and sometimes they come through, and it's been such a journey of like trusting myself with the messages I've received to share them with them. They tell me day in and day out that we don't show up in your dreams because we want you to trust when you're awake what you hear. And I'm like, bro, that's so ghetto. I don't know. Like, I can't stand it, because sometimes it's just like, my dreams are so visceral. The bird is yelling at me right now. Do you guys hear this? Crazy. That's my grandma. And even prophetic at times, but they're also like, they're so vivid and intense that I wake up with the emotions still inside of me. And I've only ever dreamed about like the people who have meant the most to me when they've passed away, a handful of times, maybe like 4 or 5. And it's such an incredible feeling. It's like bittersweet, because on one side of things, it's like, yeah, you got to see them again, and they're giving you all those same emotions as if it was waking reality. But then when you wake up and you realize that they're not here, you just miss them so much, and you wish that you can just feel that feeling constantly, because you're just consumed by the fact that they're not here. So I get it in some stance, but then it's just like, okay, whatever. Spirit guides, you do what you guys gotta do. Man, give me 1 second to retrace my steps, because I told you we were going all over the place with this podcast. I know I was talking about the masculine and feminine energies, but how did I start the conversation of my dead grandmother? Oh, because I'm drinking. Anyway, let's get back on topic. So, I'm going to take you guys all back. The Stone Age. We're hanging out with the Flintstones. The cavemen. Right? You have the women who take care of the kids. They clean the hut, the cave, the cabin, whatever it was at the time. They make bread from wheat and flour, and they stoke the fire, and they keep the cattle together. But the men, they go out and they get the food. And God forbid there's ever a predator, human or animal, or even environmental. Who's to say? I mean, I guess you really can't. There probably were hurricanes, earthquakes. You got volcanic eruptions. They're the ones like, all right, I'm going to protect my family. I'm going to do what I have to do for my loved ones. But if you ever back then showed a sign of weakness, you would be like looked down upon. I can't think of the word. I almost wanted to say expelled, but I'm like, this isn't school. You'd be looked down upon. You would be untrustworthy, unfit to protect and die for your loved ones. I'm reading crazy full circle moment. I'm reading the Symposium by Plato, and I'm probably only like 15 pages in. The introduction was long as fuck, so I blame the introduction for me not being farther along in this book. But it's very thought-provoking. I highly recommend. One day I was like, I want to learn more about twin flames. That's a whole nother podcast episode in itself, but they recommended a bunch of books, so one of them was the Symposium by Plato. And the first couple of pages, which by the way, the Symposium is like after they had like games, like how we have the Super Bowl or whatever. They would host games back then like that, but it would involve like killing people or animals. So the winner would get like these great dinners where all like the very important people and like the philosophers at the time would come, and it would be all men, and they would have like sex slaves and regular slaves to like be at their beck and call, whatever. But then at the end, when they finished eating, they would just get into these deep conversations. And then it's also a book about homosexuality, because the older men at these parties, these dinner parties, would sought after the younger men, because they saw them, their younger selves in them, and how they have so much wisdom to be learned, but they could share it with them. And it's just like crazy journey. So most of it's like between lover and boyfriend, but when they say lover, they mean another male. And they said one of the greatest acts of communion, where everyone is gathering for the greatest good of the city, is war, but it should be between lover and boyfriend. Because if you had, let's say, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, let's just do it that way so everyone can understand this, on the same team as you, and let's say now you're going off to war, you would rather die 1,000 times in war than to run away and be shamed in front of your partner. Meaning as if you were a coward and you wanted to run away from the fight. That we would have more people fighting if we drafted men and their lovers because they couldn't bear to feel that type of emotion or to have that on their consciousness, so they would stay and fight. Think about that. I'm gonna respond to the group chat real quick. Oh, LOL. Forgot I scheduled an Instagram post. If you don't follow me, go ahead and check out my personal at Mia.Cromaldi and the Soul Wave Podcast. Instagram is at the Soul Wave Podcast. I'm also on TikTok and Twitter. You'll find everything you need below. And my website's down there too if you ever wanted to book a Reiki session. If you're around the area, you know me personally, I do that. But I also do distant Reiki, which is pretty awesome. Sorry, I had to wait for the trains to pass by. Ain't no way. I'm almost done with this bottle of Prosecco. All by myself, guys? Yeah, I'm gonna be taking a fat ass nap after this. But let's run it back, Turbo. Let's finish this thought, because I don't know, I think this is where we're falling short with each other, is that I go on to say about the masculine energies and how they're bred for survival, so they can't be seen being weak. But that's where we need them the most, is not being weak, but being vulnerable, being in motion, to show that they're in pain and that we have a safe container, that they're not going to judge us or dismiss our feelings. And that the women need to relax, me included, but I don't think I have this projection towards men. It's more of an internal projection. Relax is hyper independence. Because I started this podcast talking about how I just got off the phone with my spiritual shrink, and I started talking about money, but it always, of course, it's only 2 fucking topics in my life that have a hold over me, with men. And like, when I start to crush on somebody, I'm so like embarrassed about it to even say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway because fuck it, we ball. When I start to like somebody, I will think about them nonstop. And I will have these imaginary conversations in my head about what I want to talk about with them, or something that reminded me of them. And I'll be right back because the fire department just went off. So, okay, as I was saying, and that I'll create these silly little scenarios in my head to help me fall asleep. I will imagine things I want to do with them, and I'll start just like building this crazy life inside of my head when I first start crushing on somebody. And it kills me because it's such a conscious effort, and it's an exhausting effort to step in and be like, Mia, relax. Like they're just some guy. But I don't know, I can't help it. And when I started talking about money and how like my mind just can't find a balance. It's always on one extreme of like, you're not doing enough, or on the other extreme of like, oh yeah, relax, take a break, you've done too much. And it's just super frustrating because I'm so in my head. I'll be in my head more than I'll be on earth, to be honest. And I'm like trying to navigate this fucking maze, and it's exhausting. It's so frustrating. It's like I go to Sephora today. I wanted to get a new perfume. I wasn't going to expend money on a full size. I was going to get a travel size. But then when you leave to go to the checkout, they got all those cute little like travel size other doodads or whatever. And that's where they get you. And I wound up spending more money than I planned on. And at the checkout, I'm like, damn, I really shouldn't be spending this money. Like, I need to save it. And then I'm like, can one fucking second, Mia, can you enjoy what you're purchasing, because you're going to enjoy it. Can you feel free in the finances you have right now and worry about what's to come later? Can you do some affirmations, even though you don't really believe it right now, but instead of thinking that you're rich and you're wealthy and that you have financial freedom and that you're extremely abundant, can you say maybe, hey, like, this is starting to get easier? Because the fact that I'm remembering to say something like this in the moment that I'm beating myself up is proof that it's starting to get easier. And it's just a fucking rat race constantly. I'm on the hamster wheel. It's super exhausting. And then, so I was talking with her and we go back into like my family's financial history. And, you know, both of my grandparents, well, both sides of my family come from the slums, and their old money, they made a killing off of nothing, and they worked their asses off for it. They've busted their ass. My parents included. I mean, I didn't have an incredible foundation, but I also didn't have a rocky foundation when it came to money. I'm very aware that I had always had more than enough. There's been some instances where I remember my parents fighting and worrying and stressing out, and being a baby empath and just absorbing that all. Yeah, I was stressing out about that too. So as the black sheep of the family, I just take all that on, and now I'm sitting here inherited all this cracked brick foundation of finances, of like, and it's a constant war inside of myself too, because, you know, like, honest to God, this is probably going to trigger some people, but money is everywhere. It's not that hard to make money. I don't know why I fucking struggle with it, but I do. And like, it's easy. I know it's easy. I have a belief that it's easy, but I can't seem to figure that out. I have $60 in my bank account right now, and I'm thinking about how am I going to pay for my haircut on Saturday, you know? Like, my uncle has busted his ass for everything he has, and he's been able to treat his family to some beautiful things. He's been able to treat me to some beautiful things and experiences, which I'm so fucking thankful for. And I honor them immensely, because my family's worth ethic is like no other. They grind and they hustle and they work their asses off to have what they have, and they're not frivolous with it, if that's even the right word. They're not dumb with it. They're smart. And here I am in the spiritual world learning about Abraham Hicks, and she goes and she says, man, money is the easiest thing to manifest. You don't have to work hard. You don't have to work a day in your life to manifest money. And I'm like, what the fuck? So that's where the two clashes that come in. It's like fire and water. I grow up with family members where everything that is provided for me, the foundation that I have for myself, is because they've busted their ass for it. And then I have this belief and this knowing deep down inside that, like, you know, you don't really have to work hard. And I don't want to live like that anyway. Passive income is the goal. It's the life. It's that freedom I'm chasing after. Fuck all the material things, man. I just want freedom. Freedom of my mind, too. Ugh, I would take freedom of my mind before freedom of finances any day, because that bitch is a goddamn mental institute inside. You cannot get out. They take your shoelaces as soon as you walk in. It's crazy. So she said something to me after I just unload onto her, and she was like, so if you were to acquire finances in what you would consider an easy way, a passive way, you would feel that they would feel disrespected by it. And I'm like, that's exactly it. I feel I'd be disrespecting them. I feel I wouldn't be worthy of their love or their respect at all, because I didn't do the 7 to 7 thing every day of my life. I didn't miss out on family events or make those sacrifices that I know deep down were hard for them to make. I don't want to do that. I believe in something bigger than me, and I even believe in the way that this could work out. And so she goes on and she starts talking about like my mind, and the topic of conversation always comes back to my mind and how I just put the gloves on and beat the fuck out of myself day in and day out. But how we all do it, every single one of us are at war with ourselves constantly. And somehow we got into love and relationships, because the night before all this, last night, I was just sitting with myself and I'm like, why can't I just surrender? Why can't I let things be how it should be? Why do I have such a dire need to control the situations? And she goes, well, maybe because it's easier for you to have control over your mind and not actually show up in person, where they trigger shame in you from events that happen from your childhood. And I'm like, all right, drag me through the fucking woods. But it's exactly what I need to hear, because she's absolutely right. And it unlocked like a bunch of different doorways that I'll be sitting with myself and diving into later. But it's also where like this hyper independence used to stem from. You know, ever since becoming aware of like the hyper independence, I'm like craving to depend on a man. Knowing that like all in all, like I don't really need to, and like none of us do, and vice versa. You know, we all have a story. We all grow through moments in life where we're alone and we have nobody. But those moments are to show us that like we can trust ourselves. Those moments are where our confidence should come from, of that we maneuvered and we danced through this as gracefully as we could, and we wound up okay. We came out the other side. But that doesn't mean we need to do stuff alone. I think, if anything, it is a need. I don't want to be a divine feminine without my divine masculine. I don't want to live a life alone. I want to experience everything. I want the equal to me. I want to have somebody on my side while I'm rebuilding this faulty foundation from what I've learned into something new, and then put an empire on top of it. I want someone with the same values and morals as me to know that I'm not alone. I think I need that to feel that I'm completing this human experience to its fullest, if that makes any sense. I always joke around with my friends and I say some out-of-pocket things of like stuff I want to try one day. You can only imagine. And they're like, are you dead ass? And I'm like, fuck it, I just want to try it once. Just once. I want to try everything once. I mean, there's some things I can go without. But when it comes to a romantic relationship and a commitment, I want to be able to feel feminine. I want to soften up. I'm over here kicking ass and taking names and building a brand from the ground up and all this business stuff that I'm really just, I got my ears wet. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But that's that divine masculine in me that's gonna figure it out anyway, because this is what I've always wanted. This is what my feminine me is creating, this dream out of nothing. But to have an external factor to where I show up and can let down that masculine guard, that hyper independence of always having to have my brain on and always having to have the walls up around me and the guard up around me. I'm tired. Aren't you tired? If you're a feminine listening to this, aren't you exhausted of that? I feel like, though, I've been through my fair share of men where now I can really be there for my inner child and only choose men from a healthier place of what's real and what's not. I think we all have been gaslit before, but I think we've all, to go one further, gaslit ourselves plenty of times, especially in romantic relationships. And to get to that divine masculine is to be more aware of, you know, the red flags or my feelings when I'm around them. And does my body tense up and I not even realize it? Or do I feel like I can take a deep breath and like really be seen and let my tummy rolls out and not care if my double chin shows, you know? They sound so silly, but I don't know, I think that's kind of real, at least in my life. To not always be on go and to just receive and attract and not have to chase. You know, I love that about me, to be honest, that hyper independence. I think it's everything I pull my strength from nowadays. And I honor that a lot. The fact that I don't sit on my ass anymore and let life live itself for me. That instead I decided to make something out of it all. And I decided to be whatever I wanted to be. I think that's incredible. No one ever told me that before. I mean, they do when you grow up, like, oh, you could be whatever you want, but never really thought like I could do that. And here I am on a Thursday afternoon drinking a glass of Prosecco, talking to a mic on a deck at 87-degree weather, living life on easy mode, as my friends will say. Just receiving all that life has for me. That was good. I know we went 15 different places with this, but if you kept up, thank you. I'm also sorry, because then that means we share the same brain, and I can't imagine what type of battles you go through. But I'm sending you some love and healing. And remember, you are a lot farther along than you may think, and that even if you can't, still try to be proud of yourself, because none of this shit's easy. Nobody really has a clue what the fuck is going on, no matter how many times we like to claim we do. And yeah. I'm gonna go finish this bottle. I also have to pee really bad. And enjoy the rest of my day. And I hope wherever you guys are listening to this, you enjoy the rest of your day. And you kick ass and you take names. But you also remember to soften and receive. And to be in your heart more. Maybe even your feet. Feel the ground beneath them. We don't always have to be in our head. Shit. If I didn't have to be there, I wouldn't. But, I mean, I don't have to. I just wind up there. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining and listening to another podcast episode. It really means so much. I love you all to universes that haven't even been discovered yet. Anything I mentioned will be referenced in the description box below. Description. Did I say that right? The description box below. To find out all my social media links and my website. And yeah, guys, I love you, and I will catch you on the next wave. Bye.